Today I'm going to show you why you just can't seem to be attracting high ticket clients on YouTube and how to get past that hurdle just like how I did for my clients. So we're going to go over 5 steps. The first of the 5 is making sure that your offer actually would attract those type of viewers. Some people, some entrepreneurs actually blame the ads when it's really their offer who just let me show you exactly what I mean. So in order to attract people who are willing to spend $10,000 without, blinking, with just sending it straight through Stripe or whatever it is, your offer must tie into either health, wealth, or relationships. If it's not, then it's going to be a lot harder to scale on YouTube and to get clients on there as well. Pretty much scale in general in terms of offers when it comes to high ticket clients as well. So before creating a single video, answer these questions as well. Who is your core audience? What transformation do they want? What's at stake if they don't achieve it? And does your product or service alleviate that specific pain for them? For example, if you're targeting 7-figure entrepreneurs, they're more than likely they don't need more clients, or they really don't care about more money. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Everyone's a bit different. Their pain more so is I'm trading time, which is, a limited currency, for money, and my business won't scale without me. So their stakes are burnout, stagnation, and watching their competitors just zoom past them. So you must know if they're also aware of their pain. If it's a yes, then your content validates and solves it. Great, honest. If they don't, then your content must bring it to the surface first, which is a lot harder to do. So in the best case scenario, again, you want to make sure your offer targets health, wealth, or relationships, or targets, both of these. But that's, a little harder to do. Probably targeting just one or the others is best. And then find out, these questions: who's your core? Pretty much, who are you exactly targeting? For example, 7-figure entrepreneurs. What transformation do they want? Do they want from, I don't know, having one book published to 100 books published in a matter of 90 days? I don't know, just putting that out there. What's at stake if they don't achieve it? And does your service alleviate that pain? Which I hope. From there, you want to make sure that they're aware of that pain. If not, then this process will be a lot harder for you. So next, the second of the 5 steps is to map out your audience layers so you're not guessing. So what do I mean by audience layers? So we all have audience layers on YouTube. So you have your core audience, your casual, and your broad. So let's go into one by one. So your core here. So your core audience would be those who are willing to pay $10,000 and $50,000 without blinking an eye. So this group should be extremely specific. Now, of course, there's a lot of niches that could tie into that, whether that's entrepreneurial niche, the lifestyle niche, the gaming niche. I don't know, it could be any niche. So you need to be more specific. What's their revenue level? What problem do they have? How fast do they want that problem to be resolved? And are they willing to buy? Or do they have buying behavior? Pretty much, are they willing to buy for that problem? High ticket clients come from content design specifically for your core audience. Very key as we go into next, your casual audience. So casual audience is pretty close to your core. They're adjacent to your core, as it says here, and they're interested in the topic, which is great, but they're not yet at the same income level or awareness stage. So they need time to grow into your core audience. So eventually, so your casual audience would be people who would eventually turn to your core using YouTube or any form of social media or anything like that, any form of content. Now, broad. So that is pretty much anyone interested in the overarching topic that you're discussing. For example, I'm targeting, the entrepreneurial, I did not say that right, the entrepreneurial space. Perhaps you're a gaming niche who just wants to see how to grow your channel just in general. So you would be my broad. Now, what's key, and we'll go over this, anyone interested in the overarching topic, so not yet invested in your specific outcome, they provide views and social proof, which is great. Having views is awesome. It's not all about leads. Also you want social proof, because social proof then gains leads, especially if you're targeting all 3 audiences, your core, casual, and your broad. However, the bad thing is they're not yet buyers. So most creators fail because they create content for the broad audience, which is fine, and wonder why no one buys. So they create content just for the broad audience. However, if you want to make money, you got to also target your core, of course. You got to target your casual, then that casual turns into your core. Now, what's really cool is that you could do something like you could target just your core in the beginning, then you could target your casual from there, and then you can start going after your broad. If you really want to do that, I would recommend going after all 3, just and create content that targets all 3 that will be interesting to them. What you can do if you want to make money on YouTube and want to attract high ticket clients is going from broad, then to casual, then to core. That's just the whole process. Just do all three, and brutally honest there. So next step is to identify your unfair advantage and build around it. So you might be wondering, what is my unfair advantage? I don't have an unfair advantage. Well, we all do. It's either access. So you have access to rooms, access to people, access to places that most people don't. Skill, you have some sort of skill, something you've done that most people haven't. Knowledge, something you know that most people don't. And personality. Personality is interesting. That's kind of more of the entertainment niche. So it does kind of complement the other three here. I would really focus on these three. And if you have a personality as well that's different that you could display, your perspective makes content more engaging, as it says, into one of these three, then that's even better. It's harder to get into, let's say, I don't know, the business niche if you're just focusing and relying on personality alone. That's not going to work. You need to rely on these three as well. But when it comes to entertainment, let's say, then this is very, very important. Probably more important than knowledge, skill. It all depends on your niche, really. So once you identify your unfair advantage, you need to align it with a content archetype. So let's say if you figure out, you know what, I actually did something that I'm talking about with a client of mine. Okay, then you are the operator. So you're documenting your own results. It's like, hey, like pretty much what I'm doing now. I have the skill. The only difference between knowledge and skill, and I mentioned this in my other videos, is pretty much application. So if you haven't applied it to your channel, or I think I'm missing Pete, applied it to your channel or other people's channel, for example, in my case, then I would be solely relying on my knowledge. But since I have, then I can rely on skill. So I am the operator, documenting my own results as well as my clients' results. So telling you what my clients have done, how to get to where my clients are, and so on and so forth. Let's say if you have access. So you're the reporter documenting other people's journey. So perhaps you could do a podcast. Perhaps you could interview people, for example, if you have access to rooms and people that most people don't. Next is knowledge. So you're the synthesizer. We all probably know what a synthesizer is. You hear a whole bunch of knowledge, or you read a book and you're able to explain it in 10 minutes when it took you, I don't know, 6 hours to read the book, analyzing trends. Personality. So you're the friend building connection. So again, for this business niche, I would solely rely on one of these three. You know what, can I change color here? I would focus on this one. That didn't really help. Let me try a different color. This one, or this one. And personality can just go into one of these three as a complement. So high ticket clients don't buy tactics, they buy certainty. They need outcome faster with less risk. So you need to really display your unfair advantage really fast, because high ticket clients, they don't buy, this is the newest tips and tricks. That's a different type of audience right there. They're looking for fast results because time is more important than, money in their case, more than likely. Again, everyone's different. Some people are trying to expand to the millions, hundreds of millions, to the billions, you never know. But the more intentionally you integrate your advantage, the more you differentiate yourself from the competitors in your niche, which is something we always try to do. So we'll go ahead and move on to, I believe, our fourth. This is our fourth. Yep. So you need to define your enemy. And this is something really cool. So what do I mean by enemy? Is it a person? No, it does not have to be a person. It does not have to be a particular person that you're like, hey, don't do what this guy did. You probably don't want to do that, especially when you're just starting out, because who is this guy telling me to not, look at this person in the way that I usually look at them? So it's usually an idea, an approach, or a problem. So if you help entrepreneurs scale through systems, for example, your enemy is hustle culture. You don't need to work more. You don't need to monk mode. You don't need to always stay on the grind. Instead, you definitely don't want to trade your time for money as well. Now, why do we want to create an enemy? It's because enemies create some sort of unity. For example, a shared frustration builds a bond inside of your community or your YouTube channel. That shared enemy also built an identity for your tribe, and then that tribe identity increases trust, then that trust converts into paying clients. So high-ticket clients are skeptical by nature, either because they have been burned before, they look for red flags, or they need a logic and proof to get behind it. If you don't have proof, then that's really, that's also really hard sell. So you want to make a clear stance that, okay, this is what, I'm about. This is not what I'm about. And not kind of just be switching in between whatever your audience decides, because that means you really stand for nothing. So the sharper your enemy, the clearer your positioning. Generalists attract everyone and convert no one. Specialists convert the right ones. So that's something very important. I'd probably screenshot that. And you also, the next thing, the last thing, 5 out of 5, is to validate your niche and build content that attracts high ticket buyers. So you have your offer, however, you can go however broad or however narrow you need to be on YouTube to target people who would be interested in your offer. So how do you know if your niche that you're thinking about is too narrow or too broad? So let's discuss. So if your niche is too narrow, then you'll have strong content but a small audience. So let's say you type something like lawn mowing for, I don't know, snow. I just do something out there. I have no clue. It's lawn mowing for snow, let's say. You look at these videos, you search by popular. The top 3 videos have, let's say, 10K views each. They're really like going to exactly what you search for. Sometimes YouTube will recommend stuff around that range, but you really want to look at what's exactly within your niche. That is not going to be enough. If you want, I don't know, 1,000 clients or 1,000 people to buy your stuff, that's, I don't know, 99, it's not $99, that's at a certain price, you need a lot more than 10,000 views, right? So that's how you know your niche is too narrow. Now the opposite will happen. If your niche is too broad, then you cannot outrank the giant. So whatever you search, let's search whatever here. These videos, great. They have, I don't know, 10 million views here, 5 million views here, which is awesome. However, the people who created those videos, the creators, they themselves have millions of views as well. And whenever you see someone who created a video who doesn't have, let's say, I don't know, 1 million to, I don't know, 5 million subscribers, let's say they have like 100,000 subscribers, then they get just a fraction of that, which is like, I don't know, 20K views. That's how you know that your niche is just way too broad. You're going to have to find a nice in-between right here, that content, and let's see, I say it right here. Repeat this process until you find a market that allows for both outlier performance, so videos that do great compared to the other videos in that channel, and sustainable growth, so a niche that is growing. So that is pretty much everything of how to attract high ticket clients. If you're interested in learning more, because there's always, nuance to the stuff, your specific channel, your specific offer, all that stuff, then feel free to book a call down below. It's completely free, and I can't wait to see you there. See ya.